Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, The Lost Girl Chronicles. I'm Sam, and my channel is all about the things that I'm passionate about, namely music, writing, hooping, and productivity. If those are your jam, hit subscribe to see a bit more of my content. Thank you. Today's video is a topic that I think is ever more appropriate during quarantine. I get asked a lot, how did you become a freelance writer? And with so many people out of work right now and looking for a work from home solution, I figured I'd share my story if it might be helpful to people out there. Might help you on your own freelance journey. So this is going to be a long video, so let's get right into it. So I've been a writer pretty much since I was a kid. Even before I learned to read, I was fascinated with words. I used to ask my mom what each and every road sign said when we were in the car. I know it must have been annoying, but I wanted to learn how to read so bad. I was probably 3 or 4 when I actually did learn how to read, and ever since then, it's been a love affair. I filled notebook after notebook full of words. They're still in a box, and I love looking through them from time to time and watching my progression as a human being. I was 16 when I finished my very first novel and decided that that was going to be my path forward in life. People told me that it was silly. They said that being a writer was a really hard thing to make it. Not everybody can be J.K. Rowling, and people always think that I want to be J.K. Rowling, which I don't. Cool for her, but I'm good. So it kind of put me down a little bit, and I honestly don't know why anybody would discourage a young person's dreams. That just seems kind of like not a cool thing to do. But it put me down for a long time, even though I knew that I was going to be a writer some way, somehow. It still hurt a little bit. So in college, I actually majored in creative writing because, screw what those people have to say. And my psychedelic, fantastical innards were finally able to find their way onto the page. After college graduation, however, and years of working hard towards my future career, I was completely exhausted. I was also dealing with the symptoms of PTSD at the time, which made it hard for me to focus much on the future. So I went on a bit of a find yourself type journey. I traveled a ton, went to a bunch of music festivals, and had 2 really dumb relationships. In the meantime, I still wrote my fingers off, but my dreams of sharing it had kind of dimmed. I just wanted to find some happiness in my life before I could focus on my future career. It wasn't until I moved to Colorado in 2017 that I began to get really serious about my writing again. I worked on a site called MTurk for many years, trying to cobble together an income, working from home, working online, while I was dealing with PTSD, but it really wasn't working. I stumbled upon the Reddit group for freelance writers that year and began researching it as much as I could, since I already had the qualifications that were necessary for it. So I actually got a job at a vape shop that September because I felt ready to be around people again, and I was happy there for quite some time actually. I didn't feel ready to jump just straight into freelancing, and besides, I wanted to make some connections in the new city that I had just moved to. But after my dad was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2018, my mental health unfortunately went back down the drain. My dad passed away in early 2019, and it made a lot of things clearer for me. Namely, that I didn't want to spend my life making money for somebody else. I have a lot more skills than just being a cash handler, and it really frustrated me to waste my life at basically a minimum wage job. The vape shop gig unfortunately also went sour around the same time that my mental health started to deteriorate. Managers who once loved me couldn't deal with me and my symptoms, despite the fact that I always showed up for work and did my job no matter how I felt. I started writing online, for not the first time, but for the first time for real. on Medium, and that really did help me to get my start. I'll talk a little bit more about Medium later on in this video if you're curious about it. In late 2015, things started to go south at the vape shop, and I began to write more and more on Medium. In May of 2019, I eventually quit the vape shop and got my first 2 freelance writing gigs using the site Upwork. I still use Upwork to this day, and it's a great way for freelancers to get their start. I was able to use my writing from Medium as portfolio pieces for potential clients, and my freelance career began moving. Another exciting thing that happened to me last May was that a reporter from NBC News contacted me for an interview about one of my Medium pieces, and this really helped to encourage me to keep going on my burgeoning freelance career. I'll actually link those below if you're curious about them. Since then, I won't say I've made $1 zillion, but that's partially on me. I have been able to keep up a similar income to what I was making before, with only having to work about 10 hours at most each week. And that's my comfort zone at the moment, and I'm happy to keep myself afloat while I work on other income streams. Freelancing was never like my dream. I've always just wanted to create my own works that inspire people, but I think it's a great gig for a working writer who isn't quite ready to try to break out on their own. It's also a good way to gain experience in the industry so that when you do try to break out on your own, you already have a foundation to work with. So that's basically my story thus far. So now we're getting on to the next part of the video, which is tips for starting out as a freelancer. My very first tip, and honestly this one is, I think, by far the most important: do your research. So this step is absolutely vital. If you're not willing to do research about freelance writing when you're first starting out, then you're really going to hate researching all of the pieces that you write in the future. I get a lot of questions from people that are very general, like how did you start? It's the most common one, but it's different for everybody, honestly. If you have a background in writing, you may already have some portfolio pieces to show potential clients, which can mean you can kind of skip some of the steps of creating test pieces and creating a website and stuff like that. If you don't have a background in writing, it will take a bit more work. So do your research. I highly recommend checking out the Freelance Writers subreddit on Reddit. They have a great wiki, and they have a really good guide that's linked in their sidebar. I'll link down to those things below. It's important to try to have an idea about what you can write about, but know that that may change as time goes on and you learn more about the niches that you may want to or may be able to cover. So tip 2 is to put together a portfolio. Personally, I recommend using Medium for this because it has 2 purposes. Basically, with Medium, if you pay to subscribe to Medium, it's $5 a month. And you can write as much as you want, you can publish as many pieces as you want, you're not limited at all whatsoever. You can publish things from other websites, you can publish them simultaneously, you can do whatever you want with it, and you make money off of it. So by writing pieces for Medium and using them as part of your portfolio, you're putting your energy into 2 income streams at once, which I think is a very, very smart thing to do. When you first start out, you're really not going to have a whole lot to show potential clients unless you've done some writing work in the past, or you've just written things for fun. So that's why I think that Medium is a good way to go ahead and start. That's how I got my start. The first month that I worked on Medium, I made $140. And it was, you know, after months and months of work, but the first month that I truly actually put all of my effort into it, I was able to make $140. That's what spurred me to quit my job, which in hindsight is kind of an idiotic move, but you know, it thankfully worked out for me. So, for $5 a month, you can make money off your writing for Medium, and I personally find that worth it because I've made over $1,000 by publishing my stuff on Medium in the last year. So, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but hey, if you guys see this, thank you Medium for helping me to get my start. So if you don't want to publish your writing on Medium, you can also include past writing samples if you have them, if they're relevant. You may have something from college, something you wrote for a local magazine or newspaper that shows, your writing skills. Personally, I really don't recommend trying to freelance as a totally beginning writer. You should have some idea of your writing voice and have some skill in being able to produce correct grammar if you want to be able to write for a living. I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer, but I felt I should say it, just in case anybody watching this has never written anything in their lives. Try to work on that first before you become a freelance writer. So my third tip is on where to find jobs. When I first started out, Upwork was mostly the site that I used. I still use Upwork, and I think it's a really valuable site, but I've mostly moved away from it for applying to jobs because you do have to pay them a percentage of your earnings, and I'm not really earning all that much, so I think you need every penny. Twitter is a great resource for finding freelance jobs. There's also a ton of Facebook groups that you can become a part of. Lately, I've also been trying to go to local small business networking groups, although obviously not during quarantine. And I've had some success finding clients that way. I also find that the best way to gain clients for the future is just to ask your current clients for referrals. My very first freelance client referred me to my current biggest client, and I couldn't be more grateful. Another note, if you're serious about freelance writing, I highly recommend reading the book The Freelance Content Marketing Writer by Jennifer Goforth-Gregory. She has a lot of good tips on finding new clients as well as just starting out and pretty much everything that you possibly want to know. I will link that down below as well. Alright, tip number 4 is know your worth. It can be easy to just take a job that's offered to you when you're first beginning your writing career. After all, that heady feeling of being paid to use your brain is hard to ignore. But it's also important that you don't allow clients to take advantage of you. For my first 2 clients, I was able to negotiate a pretty fair rate per word. I'm not going to actually say it right here. But it seemed pretty fair to me at the time, and it still remains pretty fair for my experience level, I think. But if you aren't a native English speaker and you're doing both work, or you're writing an ebook for somebody, many clients will try to get away with paying you 1 to 2 cents per word, sometimes even less than that. Don't encourage this behavior. If the time spent on a piece will come out to less than minimum wage for you, it may not be a good use of your time. Circumstances may differ if you're hard up for cash or you're living in an area where this rate is a good exchange in your currency, but it's not fair for you to accept super low wages, especially if you do have some kind of background in writing. If you have some skill and talent, you deserve to be paid fairly for your work. My last tip, and one that I personally really suggest you listen to: if you become self-employed, put aside money for your taxes. The biggest mistake I made this year in freelancing was not putting aside any money for my taxes. I vastly underestimated how much I would owe as a self-employed person, and now I'm going to be paying for it. So take care of your tax issues ASAP if you can when you get your start with your self-employed freelance career. It's wise to set up your quarterly tax payments within the first year of starting your business. I believe that's actually the law. Wish me luck in taking care of this part. So. But yeah, I'm not a tax professional, so I can't offer more advice than that, but just take care of your taxes. Be a citizen that does that. So that's it for today's video. Let me know if you have any questions below, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it to be helpful to you. I'll be making more videos on freelance writing in the future, so let me know if there's anything particular that you want me to go into detail about. Also, as always, if you want to see more content about writing and hooping and productivity, just hit that subscribe button. Thanks, guys. I'm trying to build another income stream, so wish me luck.